So there's been a lot of talk lately about taste kind of being the skill of the future because AIs lack taste and humans kind of have this unteachable taste, and so that's what's going to make humans the most valuable. And I came across this paper that somewhat proves that is not true. The LLMs can learn taste. So whenever the researchers were kind of deciding what is taste, they pulled from human cant, and it's essentially it's not from one, or taste doesn't just, it's not decided by one person. It's kind of an individual and community taste towards something. So like good taste would be Nickelback is good. Go look at their monthly listeners on Spotify. A lot of people would agree. So don't judge me on that one. But they said there's kind of two things involved here: judgment and ideation, and I'll show how they got. Okay, so essentially what they did is they took 700,000 pairs of papers, so papers that were very similar, except one was cited significantly more than the other within other papers. And so this is how they decided taste. Instead of paying people to read these papers and try and come up with criteria for what is taste, is this good taste, they simply use feedback from the community. So we're assuming that the more other people are citing these papers, that means that paper had better taste. And so it is an interesting way of kind of measuring taste, because it is a hard thing to just kind of come up with criteria. So then based on that, they trained a model called Scientific based on this idea. And then what they did is they took GPT-5.2, Gemini 3 Pro, and then Scientific Judge, this small 30,000 parameter model that they trained, and they gave it 728 paper pairs. And essentially, they just asked the models, which one do you think was cited more, aka which one do you think has better taste and is just a better paper. And you can see it actually beat Gemini 3 and 5.2. And I know you might be thinking 5% better than Gemini 3, that's probably just chance. What's crazy is this is a 30,000 parameter model versus Gemini Pro, and we don't even know what GP2 is. It's probably billions or trillions of parameters. So this is like a Honda Civic versus a Lamborghini. Like, the model is way worse, but it was able to identify taste and predict. But what's really interesting is also they saw that the taste transfers. So they trained it on, they did a side experiment where they trained it on just computer science papers, but it was still better predicting than on math, physics. So that's what's really interesting. It's not just like scientific taste within these papers, but it's showing that taste is something that can be modeled across different domains. So this could have big implications for business content creation. Like if you want to try and predict, hey, what's a good YouTube video to make or create a script, if you're in the AI area, you don't have to just you could pull scripts from like a Mr. Beast. So it's really interesting just the implications if taste can move across. So then even more interesting is it was way better at creating potential research ideas. So you can see the experiment here, but essentially against an untrained version, researchers thought that 81% of the time it came up with the better research idea. So it's not just predicting, but now also moving in. So I think this is pretty fascinating. I mean, it is science, but if you can teach an LLM to understand human taste, I think for any business, any content creator, really anything, it is now going to be so much more helpful and usable.